Hey everyone, I am Johnny FD and welcome to module 12 of Dropship Lab, my free dropshipping course. Today's module is going to go over how to keep track of your accounting, your profit and loss statements, kind of manage everything on the back end, and how to actually prepare your store so you can hand it off, you can outsource it, and you can potentially sell it, and why that is so important. Even if you don't plan on ever selling your store, why you should really structure it in a way where you could if you wanted to. So if you haven't subscribed to dropshiplab.com yet, please do so. It's completely free, and that way you can get all the course materials. You can get this spreadsheet template that I'm going to go over today emailed to you. You can join the private Facebook group, which I'll put this in there as well. All these benefits, and it is free. So subscribe to both the YouTube channel to get these videos as they come out every couple times a week, and also subscribe to dropshiplab.com to get them drip fed to you. So let's get started right now. All right, so if you've been following along live, been building the store, you have your suppliers, your products uploaded, you have your ads running, you probably made your first sale, so congratulations. Now what do? If you just have a few sales here and there, it's pretty easy to keep track of accounting manually, but you really want to create some kind of spreadsheet. I like Google Sheets. It's free. It's like Excel, but Google's version. It never gets lost. Everything's in the cloud. It's very easy to share. It's easy to transfer. It's easy to collab with. I really just love it. And what I would recommend for all of you is to have the mindset of, if I needed to sell the store in the future, or if I plan to sell it in the future, what is the easiest way I can hand it off to them and not have to share 26 different passwords or look for something here and there, change accounts, logins. The easy way is just to create a new Google account, a Gmail account, whether you're using the free Gmail or if you're using Google Apps for Work, G Suite. I had to look up what the name was. That is $5 a month, but you get access to a basically a professional Gmail where you have your domain, so you can have emails like johnny@yardelite.com or johnny@ whatever backyardgardenstuff.com. That way it's really professional. It's an easy way to manage your email. If you want a free version of having at your domain name email, you can use something like Zoho Mail. But these all are a little bit more complicated to set up. And for me, honestly, it's so much easier to use a G Suite version. And it's much easier to set up. It's just like less of a headache. And everything like your Google Sheets will all be in there. You have a Google Drive where you can keep all your assets, whether it's the dealer pricing list that your supplier gives you or the contracts they give you. You can keep it all in one place. You can do this with a free Gmail account as well. Create a separate one to do it. The only downside to this is it looks a bit spammy, and you lose a little bit of trust when your customers see that you're sending it from Yard Elite web store 1 at gmail.com. If you can get the perfect domain match to the Gmail, if yardelite@gmail.com is available, I may consider doing that and sending emails with something called an alias. And that's something that you can look up how to send and receive emails. Have customer service at yardelite.com be an alias that forwards to yardelite@gmail.com. That is possible. However, it is much easier just to pay Google $5 a month, and just think of it as your cost of doing business. That's the way it is. So that is the first expense you can put into your new spreadsheet. And what you can do is you can actually have a tab called, instead of, I'll insert it here, Google Suite, and it's $5 a month, and I'll just add that in there. However, you really want to try to limit the expenses you put in here. Not really for your reasons, but if you ever want to sell the store, people don't need to know if you spent $35 going to lunch with Anton or myself to learn how to do this. Or they don't need to know that you spent $2,000 to learn, to take Anton's course on how to create the store. What they care about is how much does it cost to operate the store? What are the costs of goods sold? What are the advertising costs? The total kind of big spreadsheet, you can kind of think of it as your personal balance sheet in life. You can have that. I encourage that, to just know what you're spending on in life and what your returns are. But as far as what you want for the store, you want just a profit and loss statement. And be very careful not to add random expenses here, because what that does is it devalues your company. And if you ever want to sell it, and when I started my first store, I was like, why would I ever sell this? Like, this is the easiest job I've ever had. In the beginning I was working 40 hours a week building it, but after it was built, I'm spending like 10, 20 hours a week on this, and I'm making $3,000 a month in profit, maybe a bit more. I think my best month was $7,000, and the worst month was like 1,000 something. And I was like, I'm in Thailand, I'm working like 10 hours a week. Like, why would I ever sell this business? This is a cash flowing business. But things come up, and you never know why you're gonna end up selling a store. You might get a better opportunity, you might get busy, you might, just get, you might get stressed, you get burnt out, and you're just like, I just need a break. You might wanna take that money and invest it. You might get a great, buyer, but whatever it is, plan for that, because it makes your life, even now, before you sell it, easier. So 100% have everything separate. Start keeping track of your accounting. The reason why keeping your expenses lean on here and only having the core expenses on here matters so much is because of how a store is valued when you sell it. For every $100 that you have in expenses a month, okay, let's say $1,000, right? To make it really drastic. Let's say you decided, I'm gonna put my office, your loft. Let's say you're living somewhere expensive, like San Diego or New York or something, and you're like, you know what? I live in this $3,000 loft, and I use a third of it to run my business, so I'm gonna put $1,000 as an expense onto my profit and loss statement. That is good for taxes, and you can still do that. But for the actual profit and loss statement, what happens is it makes it look like you made $1,000 a month less in profit, even though that is your personal life, and you could have been working out of a Starbucks or somewhere else. That really has nothing to do with the actual business in terms of what it's going to cost the next person who buys it to run the business. That is what they're interested in. They don't care that you got a pedicure on a business deal, or you spent gas going to the post office or something. They don't care about that. They care, and that's a weird example because we're not shipping stuff, but like, they don't care that you spent gas to go meet a friend to go talk about the store or something, all right? So for every $1,000 that you save, let's say per month, all right? Let's make this really drastic, okay? $1,000, when you sell the store, that is now $27,000 to maybe even $30,000 less you're gonna get for that store. Because the way that stores are valued is they give you a multiple, anywhere between 20 and 30% on average, could be higher. I've never seen lower for a dropshipping store, but it could be lower. For me, both my stores, I got 27x, which means I get 27 times my monthly net profit, which is all after all expenses. And that's why it was so good for me to keep my expenses lean on here. I only kept the things that are vital to run the business on this spreadsheet. Again, if you want to have a separate balance sheet for your life, your apartment, your car, your cell phone, whatever it is, you can have that. But on here, try to keep it as lean as possible. So I'm going to share this template with all of you if you are in the private Facebook group or signed up for dropshiplab.com. It's free. There's no reason for you not to sign up. Or you can make your own. It's not that hard. But let me kind of just go over what is on this spreadsheet so you have an idea of how to keep your accounting. So first on the list, we have the order number. Shopify likes to default at like 10001 or something. And if you've made your test purchase, your first order, that should just be voided. Your first order should then be 1002 or something. Then your product name is what you sold. I like to put the supplier name plus the product name just so I have an idea of what I've sold. What the customer paid, so how much the price was that they basically deposited into your bank account, their total. If you're collecting taxes, you can have a separate column to keep track of that. Then you have your dealer cost, what your supplier is charging you. And remember, what's really nice about dropshipping is the customer pays you first. Shopify deposits that money in your account within 3 to 5 days. If you're brand new and you open your account from Thailand, but you have a US store or something, they may delay that by 2 weeks the first time just to double check who you are. But either way, you'll get that money within a few weeks usually. And your dealer might not actually even bill you till the end of the month. If they bill you right away, it doesn't matter because you can put it on a credit card. Different dealers will have different policies. I really liked my dealers who didn't charge me an extra fee, because if they don't, it's very convenient for me to put that on my credit card. I asked them to even put the shipping on my credit card too. So the cost of the goods, the shipping on their account, and basically all those expenses go on my credit card, which means I have 30 days to pay it. By then, the money's for sure been deposited into my account from Shopify or from PayPal or from whatever source it was. So it's a really easy way to scale up and keep going. I do understand that for some people, if you're brand new to PayPal or brand new to having this online presence, you might get kind of screwed the first month or two. But like borrow a friend's credit card, borrow your family's credit card, put it on your credit card if you don't have one. Do something, and you'll get through it. And I promise you, after that first month, it's really easy. You get the money first. If anything, you have to be careful because you'll have too much money in your account before you spend it. So you think you always have more money than you actually do. All right, so we have our dealer cost, shipping costs, and then I like to add in the credit card transaction fees. It's a little bit different depending on if you're selling on PayPal or Stripe, or it depends on what tier plan you're on. If you're on the $29 plan or the $79 plan, if you're from using Stripe, you're using something else, put whatever that percentage is and do a calculation. On here as a default, I have 2.9% plus 30 cents, which means on Shopify payments, they will automatically take a fee of 2.9% of the transaction charge. So for every $100, they'll take $2.90 plus a 30-cent per item transaction charge. So for a $100 item, it'll be $2.90 plus 30 cents, $3.20. I just have that in there just to know. And then I'll have my profit for that item. And this is before thinking about your monthly expenses, your advertising costs, but just like for that product sold, was it profitable or not? This is really important because if that is not profitable, then you need to either cancel that order or call the customer and apologize and say, hey, I'm really sorry, I priced it wrong. The shipping ended up being more than it is. Can you please, pay a bit more for shipping, or we're gonna have to cancel the item. And try not to do this too often because it pisses people off and you're wasting ad money. But in the beginning, you might mess it up. You might be like, oh man, I didn't realize how expensive this item was to ship because it's an oversized item and it has to ship freight instead of UPS, or oh man, they live in Hawaii, or Alaska, and it costs me way more to ship there. So this is why it's so good to do all this manually yourself first for the first month or two before you start outsourcing. In the next module, the next video, I'll be talking about outsourcing. But what I'm helping you guys do today is set up everything to make it really easy to hand off to someone else later. You have to understand how to do it first before you outsource. So the next one is, it's not required to be on here, it's not anything accounting, but I like to know where that sale came from. Did it come from a Google Shopping ad? Did it come from a Facebook ad? Did it come from an Instagram ad? Where did it come from? And what's nice is inside Shopify's dashboard, it'll say something called source, and it'll show you, Google PLA, which means product listing ad, or it'll show, Facebook or something, whatever it is. So then I like to have a category just called notes. This is where I write things just really for myself, but really also to look back on, to remember what happened, to be able to show this to my VA, or they can write notes in the future. Like a note could be, had to give them 10% off because of XYZ, or first sale, woohoo, or sale recovered from abandoned shopping cart. I called customer from abandoned cart, or email customer from abandoned cart, whatever it is, right? Referral from a friend. So you can keep track of just what's going on. You can also write like what you did. Like you can write like emailed customer to ask for a review, or optimize product page, sales page after. Now on the other side, and I kind of have a broken up bar here. So it separates the accounting basically per item, and then the monthly fixed costs or monthly cost accounting. So on here, I'll have how much I spend for my Google email address, $5 a month. How much I spent that month for Google ads. How much I spent that month for retargeting ads, whether it's Facebook or something else. I have an other expenses category there. Try to keep this lean. It doesn't really, so if you want the first month, yeah, you can front load it and say like, I spent, $20 getting a logo made. I spent $50 having a designer go in. I bought a theme for whatever it is. Because when you sell the store, they do an average of the last 12 months expenses. So if you want, go ahead, put it all in there, because you're not going to sell the store in less than 12 months anyways. So it actually doesn't affect your accounting. And if anything, maybe it's good, because you're, the future person who wants to buy it can see, oh wow, you actually invested a lot of money up front to build out the store, and they're not paying for that now. So maybe it's added value, but be very careful going forth later, not to have all these random fees like your Netflix or something in here, because you want to keep it lean. Other things I have on here, the Shopify fee, $29 a month. If you get to a point where you're making, I think it's around $12,000 a month in sales, and you can get to that lower credit card transaction tier, where it goes from 2.9% down to like 2.4% or whatever it is. Just do the math, because it's going to be different for everyone. Once you get that point where you're like, oh, I'm making more than X amount in sales per month now, it actually makes sense to upgrade to the $79 plan, because I'm saving more than the $40 difference in credit card fees. Then you want to upgrade, and now your Shopify fee will be $79.99 a month, but your credit card transaction fees will be lower. On here, I'll have a category for like phone support or VA. These are things that you're not going to have the first month, but in the next video I'll talk about. And then you want to have a category just like how much was your total expenses for that month. And then all you do is you minus that total monthly expenses from your total net profit, or your total profit, because in that category, that column, we already had the profit from the individual items minus shipping, but not minus the ad fees and things like that. So you want to have at the very end a total net profit for the month category. That is how much money that you kept in your pocket. And that is the number that people want to see. So in this random example, this month we had just 3 sales, for whatever reason, we just started, right? Hopefully that'll be more like 30 sales or more in reality, but 1 sale for $3.99, $7.99, $3.99. Our profit per item was $138 to $217, but then we had $5 for Google Suites, $40 in ads, which is probably actually really low. It's probably going to be much more than that. Actually, I don't know, for 3 items, maybe it was only $40, maybe it was $60. $10 other expenses. I don't even know why I put that in there. Don't put random expenses in there. I put $29 Shopify fee. There's nothing for phone support because I was my own phone support. And my total monthly expenses that month were $79. My total net profit was at $413. So right now, the value of my store, if I multiply that by 27, this store, and this is what's really magical and really beautiful about building a asset, building a real business, not like an arbitrage business, but a real business where you're an authorized dealer, you own the website, you're not built on someone else's platform, you're not selling from eBay, from AliExpress or something. Your store already, having just $413 in profit for the month, is actually now worth $11,156. Congratulations, you just built a five-figure asset for 1 month of being profitable. Most likely, nobody's going to buy your store after just 1 month of being profitable. Actually, you probably would find a buyer, but they probably wouldn't pay you the full 27x, or they would do a lot of due diligence. They would wonder why you're selling it. You just built it. But even if you never increased your profits again, you never made more sales, you just made $400 a month from your store, after 12 months of showing that it's relatively consistent, and they take the average, and the average is 400, or probably easier example is, this month you made 400, next month 300, next month 500, whatever it is, right? But it averaged out to be $413 for the last 12 months. You can sell that store for $11,000, which is pretty freaking amazing for having such a kind of small, low-level store. This is like a beginner store. $400 a month is so easy to make in profit. And I really hope all of you will have this very soon so we can celebrate together. You can buy me a steak if you want. Actually, at $400, you can buy me a cheeseburger. And then once we get to a couple $1,000, you can buy me a steak. But it is amazing to think about, because not only did you get to keep that $400 a month in profit all this time, these 12 months, and you basically lived off that money, you spent it, you got to use it, and then when you sell it, you get another chunk of money. That's an incredible thought. I really want you guys to think about that for a second and do the math, because if you can 10x this, which is not hard, we have stores right now doing over $4,000 a month of profit. And that is why I started the partnership with the guys last year. It wasn't for the monthly cash flow. It was so when we sell the store, we can sell it for 27x and have this big chunk. And people are still asking me all the time to start another one with them. To be honest, it's too much work. I'd rather have you guys just do it and you guys buy me a steak if you guys sell the store. Actually, if you sell the store for 10 grand or 100 grand, you can buy me some ice cream as well, some nice dessert. Pistachio is my favorite. But I'd rather just create a store on my own, to be honest, because it ends up being probably more work for me to try to show other people how to start the store than if I just did it myself. And that way I can keep the 100% of the store myself too. But we have stores right now doing $4,000 a month in profit, which means if we can keep that up for 12 months straight and we sell it for 27x the monthly profit, which is the standard pretty much for a decent store, that means we have an asset that's worth over $100,000, a six-figure asset that we cash flowed. We got to live off of that $4,000 a month, hopefully save some of it and invest some of it. And then when we sell it, we get another $100,000 bonus. That is what's so beautiful about running the store. And that's why if you set it up from day one, not with the intention of selling it, but have that possibility in mind, it makes your accounting easier, it makes running the business easier, and when someone calls and says, hey, I want to buy the store, you can say, yeah, let me just send me the money, I'll just hand it off. It takes you an hour to do instead of, a year of headache. All right, so I hope that today's lesson was very helpful. If you haven't watched the other ones yet, go to dropshiplab.com. You can sign up for the email list. I send you each module drip fed. There was 11 before this. Make sure you watch them in order because they are cumulative. It is completely free, and that way I can send you things like the spreadsheet template. You know what? If anything, if you're watching here on YouTube, if you promise to subscribe to the channel, you like the video, promise to tell a friend about it, I'll put the link to this below. So if you really, for some weird reason, you're like, I don't want to subscribe to the email list, it's fine. I want you to have this information anyways. But do me a favor. Like, I really want to get these videos in the hands of more people. So do help me spread the word. I like having the email list. I can send you updates and kind of tips, and I can invite you to the Facebook group because I really want this to be a community. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot from it. Download this template. The easiest way to edit it is you make a copy of it, and that way it's yours, and then that way you can just edit it as you want. And that's it. So enjoy. If you have any questions, ask in the comments below on this video, or better yet, in the private Facebook group. That way the other members can help you and you can help them, because there's going to be some people here who are already good at spreadsheets and math, and some people who just aren't. So you guys help each other out, and it's going to be a process. In the beginning, you might be thinking, why am I spending all this time? I've only made 1 or 2 sales. You're like, I don't want to spend the time making this spreadsheet. I made it for you, number one. But second, trust me, just follow it. It makes your life so much easier later on. So thanks again. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.